Hello, everyone. We are in the second half of chapter 9 of the Old Testament book of Judges. We're picking up at verse 22. Yesterday, Pastor Paul kind of hit the groundwork here for us where Gideon has died and one of his 71 sons, Abimelech, has actually killed almost all of his other brothers. He missed one. And he has claimed the title of king. Here's an interesting little side note. The name Abimelech means son of the king. So that harkens back to Gideon himself and where we've been going with him, that Gideon had too much focus on him and actually he was the subject of Israel's worship. And Abimelech was attempting to do the same thing as he became the king of the region he claimed. Well, things have gone wrong. And there was a character who taunted him because really Abimelech was oppressing the people. And Abimelech did not take well to finding out that anybody was mocking him. And so instead of just going in and killing one guy who's particularly outspoken about his dislike for Abimelech, Abimelech actually goes to war against his own people. And so they're killing each other off and crazy things are happening as you read this chapter. What we're really seeing is the fruits of idolatry. Idolatry in this case being self-imposed or self-focused. And really they're suffering the consequences of just not having God as their moral compass. As you read through the story, it's bloody and graphic and frustrating. And like I said, makes very little mention of God, except for to say that God is allowing this to happen so that they get the reward for their bad choices. Really, they call it the passive wrath of God. God's just stepping back and letting them deal with the consequences. Well, as you read through the chapter, Abimelech ends up actually doing something very similar to his father. He's trying to take out a tower at one of the cities. And while he's there, we pick up at verse 52. Abimelech followed them to attack the tower. But as he prepared to set fire to the entrance, a woman on the roof dropped a millstone that landed on Abimelech's head and crushed his skull. This is a theme that we might have noticed here in the book of Judges, is that women play key roles in taking out bad people. We had Jael a few chapters earlier who put a tent stake through somebody's head, and now we have this unnamed woman who drops a millstone and crushes Abimelech's head. Now, Abimelech doesn't die as a direct result of that injury. He's going to, but with his near dying breaths, he asks somebody to actually impale him with a sword so that way he can say he was killed by a sword and not by a woman. But the point is, Abimelech was doing bad and, well, he got what he had coming to him. And it is fun to note the theme that there are women of action throughout the book of Judges that make things happen. However, the bigger point and journey of this book is that the people of Israel continue to struggle with knowing who they should be worshiping. And there's this slow and steady decline of people trusting in God, and then we hear about God less and less and less. And we are now, as we're halfway through the book, going to be hearing much less about God, I'm afraid. The people of Israel are going to be struggling, and it's not going to leave them in a good place. Why are we reading this book? This book is a cautionary tale. It is about reminding us that we must always keep God in front of us. When we fail to do that, our own designs and devices will bring destruction. We may think that we're at peace from time to time, but if God is not the focus and sovereign center of our lives, we're going to end up in bad places. And so that's my prayer for us today as we finish chapter 9, is that we would see this chaos and recognize that it's the fruit of what we grow when we're not growing with God. So today, grow with God and be at peace knowing that with God, He will always steer you right. Have a great day, everyone.
If these devotional videos are helpful to you, Subscribe to our channel and click the notification button so you know when we post a new video. And of course, please share them with others.